And joining us on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line, fresh off of being part of the worldwide leader in sports coverage of the Week 4 finale of the 49ers beating the Rams to create a four-way tie at 2-2 in the NFC West, is none other than Robert Griffin III, back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, RG3?
I'm doing great, Rich. How about yourself, man?
Doing all right. Doing all right. What a game that was to wrap things up last night. Your main takeaway from the Week 4 finale.
Main takeaway was, isn't it weird that Kyle Shanahan just seems to keep little brothering Sean McVay in the regular season? I mean, 7 straight victories or 7-0 against them in the regular season. Yes, the Rams won the one that mattered in the playoffs last year. But for some odd reason, the physicality of the 49ers just seems to trump whatever the Rams are trying to do. Maybe they're not biting down on their mouthpiece hard enough in the regular season. It doesn't matter to them as much in the regular season as it does the playoffs. But for whatever reason, the 49ers seem to always get back on track against the Rams. And Jimmy G did what Jimmy G does. You know, went out there, was efficient, and got the ball to Deebo Samuel, and Deebo'd his way to the end zone a couple times.
Well, I mean, there were a couple business decisions there, huh? As Deebo's running his way through the secondary. I mean, Jalen Ramsey tried to get him in his shoe, and that's just not going to work. As soon as Deebo went on that catch and run on a 3rd and 3 and turned what could have been maybe an interception into a touchdown, I thought to myself, that's exactly why the Niners had to pay him. Because not only does he do that, and there's so few people who can do that, he always seems to do that against the Rams, their number one rival and threats to winning the division, if not the conference. He does it.
Yeah, Rich. I mean, Deebo, that catch that he made on the screen, like you could say that Jimmy threw it high on purpose, but I don't know if he did.
He said he did.
Over that, Deebo, ran so many times and broke so many tackles on that run, had me thinking he scored twice in that game. So it was incredible. You saw, like you said, a couple business decisions were made. I still think, I tweeted this out last night that Deebo's built like Kyle Lowry. He's got a couple McDickums down there for his legs, and that's okay because he played strong, and he got that nickname, the wide back. And if he's going to play like that, for the duration of the season and into the playoffs, the Niners are always going to be dangerous. He is a guy like a Tyreek Hill who can completely change the outlook of your offense. It's not about really Jimmy Garoppolo going out there and dicing you for 300 yards. It's about really trying to stop Deebo Samuel from having one of those beast-quake type runs.
Well, it's not just that as well. It's the defense. Fred Warner, I think there's 3 of them. Bosa is a grade A sterling defensive player of the year type pass rusher. And now this kid Hufanga on the back end making that pick 6 to essentially wrap the game up last night. When you're sending that at an offensive line that the Rams have that's all banged up, you can understand why the Niners might have their way. There was a tweet, however, RG3, that you sent out last night that I want to bring up to you because this is something that has nothing to do, one would think, with any banged-up offensive line. It's got to do with who knows what. You sent out a tweet saying that Allen Robinson's usage by the Rams is criminally misused by the Rams, and then full caps infuriating. What are you seeing to send that out?
Yeah, before we get to that, I definitely want to say that Hufanga,
yes,
he definitely reminds you of Troy Polamalu. And it's probably just the hair, but the way he jumped that screen and took it to the house was very Troy Polamalu-esque. But to get to Allen Robinson, if you look at Allen Robinson's career, he's never been a receiver that really, truly gains a ton of separation. I saw a lot of people talking about that last night, saying that he's not getting open and when he does get opportunities, not making the most of them. But Robinson's a guy who's getting like 8 to 10 targets a game, throughout his career, both in Jacksonville and also with the Bears. And he's always a guy that the quarterback has had to throw open because he's got great body control. I trained with Allen Robinson 3 years ago down in Miami at Bomarito's, and I got to throw to him, and I was extremely impressed with his body control. And I kind of look at this like when Dak Prescott took over as the starter and he struggled getting the ball to Dez Bryant. because Des Bryant wasn't a big separation guy. He was a 50-50 ball guy that you throw to the back shoulder, allow him to use his body control to make catches for you. And right now it just seems like for whatever reason, Matt Stafford doesn't have either the confidence in Allen Robinson or Sean McVay is running every single play through Cooper Kupp, which you completely understand because Cooper Kupp was the Offensive Player of the Year last year. But at some point you pay this guy $45 million. You got to tell your quarterback, hey, man, every day after practice we're sticking behind, and we're going to make sure that you and Allen Robinson get on the same page because our investment is not paying off right now. I just think they need to manufacture targets for him, at least 5 a game, to get him involved because it's going to help that offense start matriculating down the field more. The Niners really just keyed in on Cooper Kupp, and Matthew Stafford never looked Allen Robinson's way.
Yeah, I mean, McVay said after the game when he was asked why it's a struggle to spread the ball around and get it to Allen Robinson, he said, quote, I think it's just been a struggle all around. Is it possible Robinson's having trouble picking things up as well, do you think?
I mean, I talked to him on the field before the game, and, just having trained with him and knowing who he is, he's a high football IQ guy, so I don't think it's necessarily a problem with him picking up the offense. Mm-hmm. I think McVay's also, alluding to that interception that Matthew Stafford threw that we were just talking about from Hufanga. That was supposed to be a screen to the running back, and I've been in that offense. I know he was supposed to can that play to the zone screen, because if you notice, the whole offensive line ran out to the right, but it was a screen to both sides. And anytime you get 2 guys inside of 5 yards man coverage, it's supposed to be a can to the zone screen to the running back. You kind of saw McVay go up to Stafford and ask him,
right,
hey, did you forget, to make that can? I didn't really like that visual on the sideline, but at the end of the day, it does show you that they're having some issues right now on the offensive side of the ball, and they got to figure it out. And I personally think it starts with getting the ball to Allen Robinson.
Robert Griffin III, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. He was at the finale to Week 4 last night as part of ESPN's Monday Night Football coverage right here on the Rich Eisen Show. While the game was on ABC, ESPN, on ESPN2, the Deuce, as we used to call it when I used to sit on it back in the day. The Mannings had Jalen Hurts on. Man, how good is this kid? And he's become the new rock star in this league, RG3. How sustainable are the Eagles from what you've seen so far, in your mind?
Oh, the Eagles are completely sustainable because they're built the right way. I like to say that they're built like you would want your significant other to be. They're beautiful on the inside and out. Okay, the offensive line is the best in football. The defensive line is 8 deep. They control the line of scrimmage. And the best part about Jalen Hurts was he threw a pick 6 on the first drive of the game, and his response to that pick 6 speaks everything about his character and who he has become as a player. They didn't blink, right? They're down 14-0. They come back. He has the 4th and goal where he lowers his shoulder, which, of course, people will say, hey, he's a quarterback. You don't want him to do that. But in that moment, his team needed a spark, and he provided that spark. So last week it was the Commanders, and they said, hey, we're going to dare you to beat us throwing, and he did that. This week they said, hey, we're going to dare you guys to beat us running the football against the best run defense in the league. They did that. I just think that they're beyond impressive right now, and there's 2 guys that really, up until this week, had really been doing really well and kind of in the front of that MVP talk was Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, and both of them work with quarterback specialist Adam Dado out of California. And I think he's done a phenomenal job getting those guys consistent with their quarterback mechanics. Now, Lamar had a little bit of an off week with the 2 interceptions this week, but Jalen Hurts continues to ascend. And I think a lot of that has to do with that work they've been doing with Adam Dado.
For, I guess, tale of 4th and 1s, right, between Jalen Hurts and Lamar this week? You just mentioned one that went successfully for Jalen and one that did not for Lamar, who had 2 wide open receivers on that play that everybody's still talking about and is laying at the feet of the coach for calling and deciding to push that button against the Bills. What did you make of that play and that decision and how it's going to linger for the Ravens, RG3?
Yeah, I talked about the play first. Lamar said it. If he just executed the play, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He did have 2 guys wide open. He saw Duvernay late in the back of the end zone and tried to get it to him, and that's why it was intercepted. For me, if I was the coach in that situation, I would have took the points because it elongates the game, gives you an opportunity to have another crack at it. If your defense goes out there and plays like the Ravens and at a minimum holds them to a field goal, it extends the game. But having been there in that locker room for 3 years and being on the sideline for that 2019 viral moment when Coach asked Lamar if he wanted to go for it against Seattle, in Seattle, and he says, heck yeah. He said something else, but, we're on the airwaves. So I was on the sideline for that. And I know being in those meetings, Harbaugh always wants to end the game in regulation and be aggressive because he believes in the guys that are on the field. You got the best player in the game, and Lamar Jackson with the ball in his hand. They're not going to second-guess that, and I don't think that we should second-guess it just because their track record speaks for itself. They went for it on that fourth down in 2019. I think third down or whatever it was on 2019. It was fourth down in the third quarter, and Lamar ran an 8-yard touchdown. They went for it on 4th and 1 against the Chiefs last year in the regular season, and Lamar got the first down, game over. So it's kind of messed up for us to flip the switch on them now and say, hey, what's going on here? But I will say this. The Ravens have now lost 7 straight one-score games, and that's a problem because in the playoffs, you're going to have one-score games or close games. You have to find a way to win those. Right now, they got to scratch where it itches, just like the Bills did coming into that game. They had lost 7 straight one-score games dating back to last year. So they got to figure that out and know when to be aggressive and when not to, but I wouldn't think too hard on this one. I think Harbaugh did the right thing, trusting his guys.
I have Patrick Mahomes coming up shortly, Robert Griffin III. Is he playing the best at the position through 4 weeks? What do you think?
Oh, man. I still think Jalen Hurts is playing the best at the position, but Patrick Mahomes is flipping good, and I mean all puns there because that flip that he threw to Edwards-Helaire was incredible. And I'll say this, Rich, because I know we got to go.
No, sorry.
Mahomes and the Chiefs, they miss the explosiveness of Tyreek Hill, but they're harder to defend right now. They're spreading it out to everybody. And when they were in the playoffs and they won the Super Bowl in 2019, they had 100 yards rushing in every game in the playoffs. They know what they're doing. They are laying the groundwork for that late season run, and they ran the ball for 189 yards against a Bucs defense that wasn't giving up water to a well. So I think that they are by far harder to defend, even though they do miss Tyreek in certain instances. They're very multiple right now, and that's dangerous.
Well, I mean, you cleaned that up for my audience, Robert, because to your Twitter audience, 2 million plus, you tweeted out that the Chiefs are running through the Bucs faster than poop emoji ran through DK Metcalf. That was one of the many tweets you had Sunday that went viral. You cleaned that one up for me, Robert.
How about that? They need to get a portable bathroom on the sideline, man. We've been saying that for years, but yeah, the Chiefs are dangerous. If you can do that to a Bucs defense that many consider to be the best in the game, that's impressive. And the Bucs didn't help themselves early on with the turnovers, but at the end of the day, the Chiefs took it and took advantage of it. They're a very dangerous team right now.
Yeah, you were definitely on that Seahawks and Lions game because you also mentioned Antonio Brown in a tweet that I don't think I can mention right here about the defense. And things like that, but your Twitter feed was absolutely on fire on Sunday, and when you're sending out those tweets, they're also very insightful. So kudos to you adding that to your remarkable game that you got going on the worldwide leader. Last one for you, Robert. What do you think the Cowboys should do? Let's bring it all full circle. Rams now coming home, licking their wounds. Short week. Cowboys coming in 3 in a row with Cooper Rush. Dak is lightly practicing. Stitches are out. What do you think Dallas should do at the quarterback spot right now?
Yeah, I think it's rush hour right now. That I know he's got a million nicknames right now, but I'm going to go ahead and give him that one.
Okay.
And I think, honestly, the Cowboys have found their recipe for success, and it has nothing to do with Cooper Rush. But they just needed rush hour to teach him how to push the goddamn button. That's the bottom line. Run the ball through Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, play elite-level defense, and when Dak gets back, they'll be fine. Their defense hasn't given up more than 17 points in any of Cooper Rush's starts, and I think that's a great recipe for any quarterback to go out there and be successful. Cooper Rush has played well. He hasn't played to the point where you even think about having him replace Dak. But I said this last night. If Dak is ready to go this week, but he hasn't really practiced, I'd give him 2 weeks. Give him 2 weeks to practice so he can hit the ground running, get his rhythm and timing back, don't throw him out there and have him not be ready to go, because the pressure is going to be there for him to go out and help the Cowboys win. Because the last thing you want, obviously, is to lose a game, but especially to lose a game when rush hour has been on fire, at least early in games and late in games, leading the Cowboys to 3 straight victories. So I would just put the person before the player in this situation and allow Dak to get 100% healthy, not 90 and he can go. Let him get 100% healthy. You're playing with house money.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Jerry Jones thinks that he still has trouble gripping the ball, so maybe this week won't happen. But is it as simple as just saying, hey, Dak comes back, let's just add another 100 yards passing, because that seems to be Dak's ability and his ability to maybe run it as well, and the Cowboys are just going to be that much better? Is it that simple, or is Rush operating the offense more efficiently? Robert?
No, I don't think Rush is operating the offense more efficiently. I think it's even simpler than what you just mentioned, Rich. I think Kellen Moore has to understand that the game plan he has for Cooper Rush needs to be the game plan for Dak Prescott. That's how simple it is, because Dak is a more talented football player, but you cannot get lured in to trying to throw the ball 40 times a game just because you have a quarterback who can do it. Your team right now is built to run the ball and play great defense. Dak can go out and make all those throws and all those plays that Cooper Rush did. Give him the opportunity to do that, and don't force him to drop back, take those 7-step drops, and try to take a bunch of shot plays. Kellen Moore has to make a decision. Does he want to be number one in the league in total offense and yards per play, or does he want to win football games? If he wants to win football games, when Dak comes back, he won't change the game plan. He'll do it the same way he did for Cooper Rush.
RG3, you are the man at RG3Sticks on at RGIII on Twitter and Instagram. I just love watching you and listening to you, and you make me smarter and laugh, man. Thanks again for the time, as always.
I appreciate you, Rich. Much love, brother.
Right back at you. Look for more of my phone calls. That's RG3 right here on The Rich Eisen Show.